What's up, guys? This was a really good chapter. Things finally progress. The Scythes, they come to attack, and we got some interesting abilities. We got some devastation. We're gonna really see how the Lances actually get out of this. That's kind of what I'm really excited to find out going forward, is how the Lances get out of the situation, because they're in a pretty dire situation. They're not looking good. We don't know who Arthur's enemy is going to be. I kind of got a speculation of who the enemy is going to be, but as for right now, it's the two Scythes versus the three Lances, and how they're going to get themselves out of this pickle and win and stop losing battles. We don't know, but I guess we'll find out. But let's talk about the chapter. So there's a couple key points that I just kind of want to talk about during this chapter. Now, the first thing is we know that the relationship with the dwarves and everybody else is still kind of rocky, but they're working through it. Now, one of the things that was talked about that Viray has said, which I thought was it made a lot of sense, was that they can't really boss the dwarves around, right? Like, they can't just come in and just take over and be like, hey, here's how things are going to go. This is what's going to... No, that's kind of not what they're doing, and they can't really do that because, that's not going to lead to, positive outcome as far as, like, when the war is over, because they want things to really kind of, like, stay together, So, the fact that they can't just come in and be like, hey, I'm stronger than you, you should listen to me because I can destroy you and shit like that. No, they can't really do that. So part of that conversation was because they wanted the dwarves, Silvershire, they wanted Micah to guard the important people that the dwarves have in the palace. And Viray thought that was like a waste of resources, like with how powerful Micah is, we could use her somewhere else, but the dwarves wanted her to, protect the important people, and Viray didn't really agree with it, and she can't just, start annihilating them and say that, hey, this is what we're going to do. It's not really going to work like that. But obviously Micah kind of feels a little embarrassed about it, because I think that she would rather be doing something else that's more important. But she made an agreement with her dad that that's what she's going to do, and so she's kind of just sticking to that. So the explosion happens, and so we find out that they're being attacked, right? They're being attacked, but they don't see any enemies. There's no enemies to be seen, but they said that they sent some mages down to investigate, the situation. And so they stay gone for a few hours, and then we finally get information about, what's going on with the mages who went to investigate, and they're also going to close and seal up a lot of the entrances that they had. So they had to close up the tunnels, and Byron comes and let them know what happened to the mages who went to go investigate. And so apparently they were attacked by shadows, right? They were attacked by shadows, and they're dead. Like dead bodies. Their dead bodies attacked them, and they were attacked by shadows. And so when I first hear this, I'm just like what? Like, they got somebody who can use magic to use dead bodies to attack people, and then they said they were attacked by shadows. So immediately I'm thinking like, okay, this is probably some sort of like mind manipulation type of thing, but I just thought it was crazy. So I'm just like, okay, so we're gonna find out this chapter who's responsible for the shadows and the dead coming back to life. And yes, we do find out, and it's pretty cool. And so another point that kind of stuck out to me was the conversation, the subtle little conversation that Viray was having with herself, or she was thinking about with Arthur, about how much he's changed, and how she can't even like see him as the 16-year-old boy that she last saw, and just how like everything, his features changed, and the golden eyes that burns like a like the sun and shit. So it was really funny to me how they was doing this like little teasing. They were kind of teasing each other a little bit. So they're like, they can feel all the vibrations or whatever. So they're kind of just waiting, just chilling. And let me tell you what he says. So he says, is the unflappable General Vere flapped? And I'm just like, because she's kind of like, I guess, nervous. And then she kind of teases him back. It's just like, oh no, like we, with the God Killer, the God spell, because they calling him God spell. And so with the mighty God spell being here, she shouldn't be flapped and stuff. And so I just kind of thought that was funny, but obviously Arthur's not cool with the nickname, and I don't know why. I mean, it's just a nickname. Like, bro, like you're not normal. You're not like everybody else. Like, people can see that. So he just kind of needs to embrace the fact that he's different. We get to see the effects of the shadows and the manipulation. We get to see, or not see, but we get the effects of how it's affecting Vere, and because we mostly following Vere throughout this entire chapter, and so she starts to hear all these screams and voices, and I'm just like, yo, so all these screams, is this real? Or is this part of the mind manipulation, like the illusions and stuff like that? And so with this mind manipulation, I mean, we get to see like how powerful it really is. Like, you start to see things, you start to hear things, see people that you love and that you care about. You get to hear their voices. So she gets to see Aya, King Glader, and Aaliyah, the former Lance, that died by Ulto. She gets to start seeing, like, just seeing them, and like Aaliyah with, the hole in her chest, Aya with she'll see Aya with the hole in her chest, and Aaliyah with her arms torn out and torn off, and her eyes out of her eye sockets. Like, that's got to be crazy to be able to like. Just like for it to feel that real, and telling you like, oh, you should have protected us, and you're feeling so guilty and all this other thing. So like, this manipulation shit is really, really powerful. And then we also get to see that Micah fell victim to the manipulation as well, and so she's like kind of fighting herself, damaging the ground, falling into craters and shit. Like, so it obviously got to her too. We don't really know. I'm guessing that the Scythe that's there now with the purple hair, she didn't put any sort of spell on Byron, because Byron seems like he was fighting the white-haired sister. But we see how it affected the Lancers, so they're not immune. Like, they're not going, like, they fall victim to it. But Vere was able to break out of it for the most part. She still fell victim to it, but she broke out. So basically, I look at the manipulation as like a weakening tool. Like, it kind of like demoralizes you. You lose your confidence. You lose your will to fight because you just feel so horrible about yourself. Any thoughts that you had about, when you feeling down about, things that might have happened, decisions you might have made, feeling guilty about things, like, you're able to bring all that stuff to life and just have it just demoralize you. And so it's actually what would have been really cool, because we didn't see this, but what would have been really cool if Micah got so manipulated by the genjutsu that she was put on. But if she got so manipulated to the point where she was like fighting, right, and she started to fight and kill the civilians, like the other dwarves, like, cause how she was like swinging a big hammer that she got, putting craters and stuff. What if she was starting to kill the other dwarves and other people, and they're just like, no, Micah, what are you doing? She just started killing people, blood everywhere, and then like she finally like releases the genjutsu, and I'm just calling the genjutsu just to kind of fuck around. But she finally releases the manipulation, and she's able to see like all the blood on her hands and how many people she didn't kill, because she thought that she was like fighting the Scythe or whatever is going on in her head. I think that would have been so impactful, because that would have really demoralized her, I think, because Micah still cares about, her people, and, for her to take their lives and have their blood on her hands and it be from her, I think that would have immediately put her out of the fight. Immediately. And so, not quite sure why that didn't happen, because I can easily see that happening. But that would have been cool if something like that had happened. We get to meet the Scythe that's responsible for all this manipulation. And so I don't believe we were introduced to this Scythe before. I gotta go back and reread the Victor ad and see kind of what Sarah's was giving the details about some of the other sides, because we know that there's another Sovereign, we know that there's Cadell, we know that there's Dragoth, I think that's his name, and then we know that there's the other 2 female Scythes, but I'm not quite sure. I gotta go back and look. But so the Scythe battles it out a little bit with Veray, but then can't forget about this part. Veray manages to save Micah and get her conscious again, which, I mean, I'm not quite sure why the Scythe just kind of let her do that, but I mean, she got Micah back. And then Byron comes in, and he was fighting the sister. And so the other Scythe, the sister Scythe with the white hair, she was fucking him up. She did have a gash. She got injured by the spear because Byron is using Tassi's spear. And so she did have a big gash near her ribs where you can see like her rib cage and shit, which is pretty gruesome. But Byron, he was just covered in blood from head to toe. So he really got messed up. But he's not out of the fight. You know, Byron's not, he's not ready to call it quits. And so he comes in and he's manipulating the spear and throwing it at the pink-haired Scythe that has all the illusions, and it manages to go through her spells. And so this spear is powerful. So obviously this is a really good power up, because this spear can also temporarily I guess mess with your magic to where like you don't really have control over it. And so it's a temporary thing. And so after he threw the spear, she was kind of like losing control of her manipulation. Oh yeah, so another thing too is that she's using sound magic. She's using sound magic to do all of these things. And so I guess it's like she got like these dark wind powers. And so I'm guessing it's because like the dark fire, and so you mix it with the wind, and so it makes dark wind or whatever. And so so apparently the sound can like pierce through your body and start to mess with like your brain. And so that's how she's like manipulating all the people. So at the end of this, we got the three lances versus the 2 sides. And so Byron's pretty messed up. Micah's messed up because she's drained a lot of her mana back when she was under the illusions. And Veray seems like she's okay. So right now Veray seems to be the one that's in the best shape out of all the other lances. And so it's the 3 of them versus 2 sides. How are they going to win? I do not know. I'm trying to think, like, there is no power of friendship power up that they can get that's gonna let them win. You know, Micah isn't gonna turn Super Saiyan, so there is no Super Saiyan power ups that you can do to let her win. So I don't know how they're gonna win. Honestly, I don't know, because they're pretty messed up, and these sides are really powerful. So we'll see kind of what Toteumi comes up with to get them to win, because I don't think they're going to lose. I don't think they're going to lose this fight. Now, as for Arthur, right? I do have a slight theory. So Arthur can kill a Scythe, right? Cadell was one of the stronger, if not the strongest Scythe out of all of them, right? He was Agrona's right-hand man. He was the one that was sent to go get things done, right? He was ruthless. He was brutal. If Arthur can kill him with Regis' help, because he needs Regis' help in order to kill him, then he should be able to kill all the other sides without really getting hurt too much, you know. Because part of the reason why that fight was more difficult is because of how emotional Arthur got because of Cadell being the one to kill Sylvia. So with him being his head screwed on straight with Regis, he should be able to kill Scythe pretty easily. I think that when he goes to the portal to figure out who's coming after him, I think one of the Asuras, I actually think that Coldry, the Asuras, one of the Sovereigns, they call them the Sovereigns, that was there at the Victorad, that was clapping, you know, he was clapping at the end of it, of the fight with Cadell. I think that he's going to be the one to show up to fight against Arthur. Because we got to have somebody more powerful than the Scythes. And the only ones that's more powerful than the Scythes is the Sovereigns. And so Coldry is one of the Sovereigns. So I think that Coldry's going to show up. And he's going to be one to fight Arthur. And Arthur's going to have a hard time. Will we see Aldir come with Ren? Will he come in? And maybe if Arthur's, you know, on the ropes with Coldry, maybe he comes in and it helps him out. I don't know. I'm speculating. But I'm wondering if Coldry, or not Coldry, I'm wondering if Aldir and Ren is going to show up during this fight and maybe help them out. I think it'll be a little cheap. You know, they kind of come in and save the day. But it'll kind of just be great just to see them and like their interaction with, you know, Aldir. Like, will Arthur automatically like want to fight Aldir or something like that? Or I wonder how their interaction would be. But hopefully there's some more some casualties. Hopefully we get some more people dying because they can't protect everybody, you know. So maybe Micah's dad dies. Maybe some of the important dwarves, maybe they die. But listen, man, this was a great chapter. Much better than last chapter. Last chapter was honestly pretty boring. You probably could tell it was pretty boring because there's not really a whole lot to talk about. But this chapter really progresses things. I'm excited. I hope you're excited to see what happens next. Let me know what your theories are. So yeah, man, this was just a really dope chapter. I mean, shit, I'll give this chapter a 9 out of 10. But yeah, so that's really about it. We're going to see kind of what happens. That's my theory. Tell me what you think. Do you think Coldry is going to show up? Do you think somebody else is going to show up? Will he bring Tessia again? I kind of doubt it, you know. But that's kind of what I think. And I'll check you guys out in the next video. Peace!